When I was 2 years old, my father murdered my mother.
Police say it started as a family disturbance.
My mom and dad had been separated for a couple months.
It ended with the shooting death of the wife.
My dad came over to our house with a gun. He came inside and he got my mother and he tortured her. He tied her up and put cigarettes out on her and burned her. I was there, my sister was there, and my grandparents were there. Everybody saw it. I had to stop. My mother ran into the bathroom and jumped out the window and shot her twice. And then she died in the front yard. My dad was arrested that night. He stood trial for murder. What hurts me is that I have no feelings, I have no memory, I have nothing of my mother. All I have is what people tell me and pictures that I see. About a year ago, I started getting these urges. Like my mom was coming to me and saying to me, my dad, your dad, your dad. And I felt like I needed to go see him for closure. And when I called the prison to get his address, I found out that he had been released. My dad has been out of prison for about 3 years now, and he lives in my town. Sometimes I wonder if he has driven by my house, or maybe even talked to me, because if he did, I wouldn't know who he is, and I don't know what he would do. I would like to see my dad, to let him know what I went through. I'll never see my mother again, and I'd like to at least see one of my parents. If I could talk to my dad, I would ask him why he did what he did, why he made the decision for 2 children to grow up without a mother or a father. And I would also tell him that I think that he's a coward and that he's selfish. He has a second chance in life to do something for himself, and my mother doesn't. And he played God that day and took my mother's life. A part of me wants to forgive him, but how can I forgive somebody that treated my mother like that and did what he did to his children?
That was hard to watch. You want to come up and sit down and talk about this? Okay. Now that's the first time you've seen some of that news footage where your father's being cuffed and dragged to the car and all. What comes to mind when you see that?
I had to see that here, and my family acts, never speaks of this, acts like this has never even happened.
But it did happen, and he shot your mother 3 times with a 12-gauge shotgun.
And said it was an accident.
Yeah, 3 times it was an accident, right? And he was convicted and spent all of this time. What do you remember about that day? You said you remember him coming in the door with a gun.
I remember we were taking baths, me and my sister. We were at my grandmother's house. And I remember coming out of the bath and going to the other side of the house, and my dad coming in the front door with the shotgun. And then the next thing I remember my mom and my dad were behind the couch in the living room, and my grandparents and me and my sister were by the back door, and my grandmother pushed us out of the back door, and me and my sister ran out and ran to the neighbor's house. It's weird to me that the only thing I remember about my childhood is that day. I don't remember being told about my mother. I don't remember being told about my father, what had happened. I don't remember any of that.
What was your reaction when you heard he was out?
I was shocked to know that he had been out for all this time and I never even knew.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.